Everything's darker right now. Ryan's here. Well, thank God. All right, let's get the show started then.
Ryan.
I was just waiting. I was just waiting for the first comments because ever since the one show that the comments didn't show up.
David.
Hey, there we go, and boom! It's like bam. There's 20 comments.
Yeah,
Yo! Wow. What's up, early?
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Happy Father's Day to all you guys, all you dads out there. Hope everyone had a good day. These are gonna drive me crazy. So I have a new pair of glasses on today that it's those transition ones that fade from light to dark, and they're stupid sensitive. They put the wrong things in, so everything looks dark today. So my eyes have like serious fatigue because it's not bright enough. Really. What's up? So how was your weekend?
It was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do anything fun?
I watched the games.
That's it, huh?
Games, man.
That's
World Cup
good.
right now, so.
Akron, Ohio in the house.
Yeah, UK.
93 and hot as hell. Welcome to our world.
I know. Tennessee.
I like the new unboxing. Well, thanks for bringing that up, Chris. That actually brings us into my first question. Oh, hey, it's Jeff Smith. What's up? From first class.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. Okay, so that means he's on a plane. That's awesome. So we did the 9905 unboxing and review this Monday. Today it came out. It dropped, as they say in the YouTube world.
Yeah.
One day off isn't a weekend. You don't have to tell me that, Johnny. I know. But we like to pretend. It's a pretend. It's how we fool ourselves.
Yeah. It's a day and few hours.
Yeah, so you stay up as late as you can Saturday, you get up as early as you can Sunday. It feels like it's longer than it is. I got up at 6:45 Sunday so I could go for a run before it got too hot.
Yep.
That didn't work out because by 9 o'clock it was just stupidly hot. Do you have air conditioning in the bay? No, we don't, Steve. We don't air condition the bay because we don't want anyone hanging out in the bay. I know you guys, and that's a whole topic we won't go into, but we keep it at a balmy
Manchester,
80 to
UK.
90 degrees so that people will sit in the waiting room. These chairs are facing the window so you can watch us work. But hey, if you're willing to sweat, you can chill out and hang with us. But no, we don't air condition the bay.
Hello from Norway.
Plus,
Love the 9905 video. Nice.
Anyways, so back to the video real quick. We did it. We shot the 9905 video in a new won't say format, new method. Okay, and we wanted to see what your guys' thought was on it. If it's positive, we're going to start shooting them that way. The method we shot it allows us to edit them quicker.
Yeah.
And which means we can do more of them, which means we can get them out. So even if you're not a Kenwood fan, because I know some of you are like, oh, I'm not. Just watch a couple minutes of it and let us know what you think. Go ahead and comment in that video and just say, hey, okay, I like this, didn't like this, or I like this, or and if you don't like it, let us know why. Don't just say, but we're hoping that this new method works. It's kind of less personable, but you get to see a lot of my hands doing this. So
Bismarck.
Which is a shame because I got real messed up fingers from years of doing this, but whatever. But yeah, let us know what you think. That'd be great. So as I said, my weekend, my Sunday started out with a run, and then it started out with me wishing I hadn't done the run. And then Haley and I went for breakfast, and then we actually went to the run store so I could buy another set of headphones.
Okay.
Okay. So I had the gray ones.
Yeah.
I wanted the green ones. So I bought the green ones. I'm gonna give the gray ones to Haley because when she's riding along that way, she can have those. And then I like green. I like Dayglow green when I'm running just because it makes me stand out more and I don't get hit.
What's up from Mississippi?
It's $69. Rather just go with the 9904, and that's perfectly acceptable. I mean, there are slight differences between a 9904 and a 9905. The main difference being that screen. You're paying for the screen. I mean, at the end of you're paying for the screen is what the 9905. There's a few software differences.
Yep.
But it's only in location, so it's not like, oh my gosh, it's revolutionary. Now, if you're an Android guy and you have one of those 5 Android phones that'll work on it right now,
Google phones,
then it's totally worth having the wireless Android Auto.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no, I would stick with the 9904 for sure, because I mean they sound the same. technically they're supposed. Well, they're close. I don't know. They say that the 99. I don't buy into that. I think it's the same thing.
Yeah. Trinidad is in the house.
Paying for Android Auto and Waze, basically. No, I mean, on the 9904 has Android Auto.
Yeah.
And Android owns Waze.
Yeah.
So that's already in there. You're paying for the Waze icon is actually for iPhone users. So Web App is the app that is allowing you to do the crappy YouTube like we showed you, the Yelp and all that. But it's for iPhone users to have Waze on the device, which, as we all know from the Apple Worldwide Developers Conference, that's not going to matter in like 3 months. So
yeah, exactly.
CarPlay, everything will have Waze built into it. So
okay. Do you have the name of the phones, of the Google phones?
I do not.
Okay.
I did.
You used it?
You talk for a couple minutes. Let me check. Hold on.
Okay, so Walter say I just bought the MBH 2300 new. Love the radio. It's an awesome radio. Let's see.
You're doing good, man. Keep it
yeah,
up.
I'm trying to.
You're doing good.
Hey John, hello from Arkansas. I appreciate your videos and have ideas watching you installs. Keep it up. Thank you. All right.
You're doing great, man. You're doing great.
I'm looking for.
What are you looking for?
Questions.
All right, here we go. Google Pixel 1 and 2.
There you go.
Google Pixel XL 1 and 2. Nexus 6P and Nexus 5X. That seems like 6 phones.
Okay.
That seems like...
What's up, John?
2... No, it is 5. No, it is 6 phones. So those are the phones right now. There's no Samsung. There's no LG. There's no Chinese name insert phone here. So that's not to say that they're not coming. They are coming. We know they're coming. It's just right now they're not here. So...
Okay, Marcus, what does the error mean on the Pioneer deck? But after tuning the vehicle on and off, the deck plays fine. Huh? Okay.
Well, if you get an error warning in the back of the owner's manual, they give you a list of all the errors. So you can actually go to the... If you don't have the owner's manual, you can actually download the owner's manual from the website. But they put error codes in all the owner's manuals in the very back, right before the glossary. They have what all those mean.
All right. What is the fascination of Waze and Google Maps does the same thing?
The fascination of Waze, believe it or not, is for cops. That's all it is. That's all I've been able to figure out.
And they take you to a different route.
No, it's cops.
Yeah.
It's straight up cops. It's knowing where the police are.
I use it.
It's where, yeah, it has to do. Everyone that I've talked to, it's knowing where the cops are.
Okay.
A map will take, dude. Look, point A to point B. Great. Oh, there's an accident there. They all tell you where the
different way.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's fine. And so do all the other ones. What's the difference? The cops. Google Maps doesn't show you where the cops are. Okay. That's it. That's all people care about. They don't want to buy radar detectors and they don't want to speed. Okay, when sound deadening a vehicle, is there much of a performance difference between various manufacturers? Okay, so we've answered this before, and we'll throw one more at the wall. When it comes to sound deadening, we have 3 of the premium sound deadening materials stuck to the back door of our install bay that we've had up there for about 2.5 years now. That we didn't. It's ashy white door paint. We stuck the thing on there, and the sun beats on it day in, day out, and every piece that we've put on there is still stuck and will never come off. So, does it matter? I guess. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, sound deaden your door as long as the stuff doesn't peel off. Here, it's a win. The butyl stuff is obviously what you're going to want. You don't want to get anything like roofing material, anything tar-based. You want the butyl with the aluminum. Everyone's making it now. Pick a brand, pay what it costs, stick it on the door.
All right. Do you have the model number? Do you know the model number of the Kenwood 7-inch speakers?
KFC. There's a KFC XR 1800, which is, I think, the premium one. I have no idea what the other one is. No. It's right there. I don't know.
Right there. All right.
KenwoodUSA.com.
Hey, I have a Kenwood DNX 994S, and I use CarPlay all the time. in my Tundra, I have a USB back into the console.
Yep.
I'm finding CarPlay cables weekly. Finding.
Fine.
Finding CarPlay cables weekly.
Who
there
are we reading here?
Right here.
I'm finding CarPlay cables quirky. Is
And
there a better cable I'm using? Yes. Okay, so here it is. Whether you're using Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, it doesn't matter. If you're not using the factory cable, you need to get one that is certified. You have to get a high-end one. What we use is iSimple, which is PAC. These guys right here, they make a rugged version of the cable under the iSimple line. It's 3 feet long. Okay, all of them are susceptible to how long they are between here and here. Unfortunately, all the adapters that plug into the radio are cheap. The cables in the cars are cheap. It adds distance to the radios. They only work between 10 to 15 feet, but each connection shrinks that. And then if you have a cheap cable somewhere in the mix, it shrinks it even further. That's why there's been this push for wireless, is to get the cable out of the equation. You want to keep the cable short, and you want to go with a high-end cable. If the cable's not costing you $35 or more, it's not going to work that long. It's plain and simple. That's what we've found. I have a cable that we use to test every radio. If you watch the video, you see it. It's black. It's got red shrink wrap on either end. That's to hide the iSimple logo, because they never came out with a black version of the cable. And at the time, they were like, you can't show this cable. It's going to be gray at the final release, so don't let anyone see the iSimple logo. That guy has since quit, so I really don't care. We use their rugged cables. They're awesome. They don't give us any issues. We yank this thing in and out of cars every day, and it lasts. So it's worth the $30 that you're paying for the cable. My wife has Amazon cables in her car, and I replace them all the time. She refuses for me to just bring home a $30 cable. I don't fight the feeling. It's whatever, you know, if you're married, you know what I mean. Okay, question was CAC3AV, will it work on a Pioneer radio? It'll work on a Pioneer radio, a JVC radio, an Alpine radio. It'll work on all the radios. It's pinned properly. If you want to know more about a CAC3, whatever that cable, the aux cable, we did a video on aux cables, the 3 different types of aux cables and why they're different, and how you can take a cheaper one and make it the same as a CAC3AV. So you don't have to spend the $30 on that cable. You can spend 10 and get a cheaper one depending on which one it is. And it's Bill. What's up, Bill? Hope you saw the Kenwood video today. The 9903 unboxing went up today, so let us know what you think. But yeah, so definitely want to check that out for those informations. Okay.
I just bought a new Kenwood Double D radio, the one that has the...
Oh, wow. Sue's watching. She goes, wow, I just felt the bus tires all roll over my back. Sorry, honey. Go ahead.
I just bought the new Kenwood radio that has the YouTube app, but
yeah.
I can barely see any videos. Do the legal rights, is there anything in the menu so I can take them off?
Well, no. So you have to sign up for the account. You have to make sure when you're in the web app, you have to make sure you're signed into your account, and then you're stuck with whatever the YouTubers have that turned on to. So it's like it's a whole browser thing. So web app isn't paying the royalties, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it sucks. That's why in the video we showed it, because we wanted to show you that this isn't a sellable feature. It sucks. The wheels must go round and round.
All right.
But yeah.
Isn't Kenwood coming out with the add-on to the factory radios with screen that will add nav or some of the other features?
No, not that we're aware of at the moment. You know, factory screens are hard enough to do things with as it is. They've tried that before. They had a whole line that they made 10 years ago that was built on that. If you could get an aux input into your radio, you could buy a whole outboard Kenwood system that would add nav, add Bluetooth, add preamps. You could A/B between the two, and it sold this. Are they going to bring that technology back? Most of the time when a Japanese company has something that fails that bad, no, they'll never bring it back again. I don't know, though. I mean, you know, we had Seth on the show. We talked to Seth. Seth, unfortunately, is not in the position to tell us future products, because the Japanese Kenwood is what makes these decisions, just like the Japanese Pioneer makes these. Show a prototype at CES. See, there you go. So
Yeah.
Bill says there's a prototype. There again, it just depends on whether the Kenwood USA can convince them that that's what will sell. I honestly don't know. I don't really see a big... Like, we carry PAC that will integrate backup cameras in. They used to make navigation interfaces for GM. They bought this whole company that's all it was designed to do, and it was like $650 to $700 to add navigation into a car. No one wanted to do it. They actually just dissolved the company and absorbed the technology. If you're thinking Kenwood, and that was a no-name brand, so Kenwood's going to come out and add Garmin into factory radio. That's going to be stupid expensive. Who's going to buy it? I mean, there again, I'm going to rant for a minute. We put the video on the 9905, and some of the comments on that are silly. It's like, oh, Android radios have better than 1280 by 720. 720 would have been good back in 2013. It's like, okay, cool. And it's not that I don't agree with you. I agree wholeheartedly. But the problem is, who's going to pay for this technology? You know, the 995, which is the navigation Mac Daddy, basically the best radio Kenwood has ever produced. Okay, mm-hmm. It's also very expensive. It's like $1,100-$1,200 retail. Who's buying that? Mm-hmm. And how many comments do I have to hear where people are like, that's crazy. Well, dude, if you have a touchscreen in your dash, you bought a Ford that has a sync system, you bought a GM that has that crappy system, or you bought any crappy system, JBL, Toyota, whatever, you insert name here, you paid $2,500 to $3,000 to have that piece of crap in your dash, and it's a piece of crap. You want to take it out. Now you're complaining about $1,200. What is Kenwood, Pioneer, Alpine going to do? I mean, $1,700 you can get into an Alpine 9-inch touchscreen for a Jeep that's waterproof, plays CDs, DVDs. You can integrate in a 3-camera system. You can integrate in their backup camera. You can integrate a winch. You can do CarPlay, Android Auto. You do HomeLink, and it's $1,700. Okay, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, come on, man! Pick a route." Okay, I don't know. I sound frustrated, I am, because it's like, I don't get it. It's like, these companies are trying to come out with products, but they're also trying to hit price points. Everyone bitches about the price points, but they want all the products. It's like, listen, if you're looking at a 201EX, buy a 201EX and don't complain because you can't change the background because you spent $199 on a radio, and that the only radio that's going to do that is $300. So, oh my gosh, I have to pay out. Yeah, you do. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. These companies, look, they want to make money. They're trying to say, hey, everyone wants to pay, no one wants to pay $1,200 for a cell phone, but we all somehow managed to do it over a course of 24 months. I don't know. I don't make these things. Sorry. Anyways, okay. Happy thoughts, rainbows, unicorns. Let's get back to work. Okay.
All right. You done?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right. Somebody say, thank you for asking my question, but I don't actually tell you the question. But let me
okay.
Say. Well, he say, how can I bypass the firewall to run my power wire to a 2009 Toyota Camry?
Ooh.
So.
That's you.
Well, the best thing you can do is look from the back, from the inside of the car and the outside of the car, and make sure you have enough space in between. Because sometimes it's the brake booster. Pedal. I'm sure you can find enough space. I have to see it, and
so what you want to, anytime you're deciding to drill a hole through a firewall or you want to go through a grommet, first off you have to find, you need points to which to find, meaning, like when we're looking at a firewall, we're looking for, okay, if we're inside the driver's footwell and we're looking, we want to find a reference point. So hood latch is a really good reference point. See where the hood latch is going through the firewall. That way, when you're on the other side in the engine compartment, you can see where that is. So if it's here and here, you can kind of get an idea of what's around it. Sometimes in a Toyota and a Nissan, you have to remove the emergency brake. Sometimes you have to remove a fuse holder. Sometimes you have to pull the gas pedal out of cars. There's a lot of things you have to do to get a hole through a firewall anymore. So don't be afraid to remove stuff to do it. Then what you want to do, once you're finally confident that you're like, okay, this is the spot, man. This is where I'm going to drill. drill a small hole with a uni bit. Don't use a big 4-inch bit. That's small hole that you can fit, about an 1/8 inch, that you can fit a pick tool through. Drill a starter hole that goes through the firewall.
Yeah.
Now, if you feel like if it goes through metal and then drops and then hits another piece of metal, stop. Put your pick tool in and see what is there. Sometimes you're gauged wrong. You've just drilled behind the brake booster. If you keep going, you're going to drill into the brake booster. Sometimes it's double metal, in which case, you can have someone put their hand in the firewall and you can tap and you can kind of get an idea of where you're at. Okay, and then you can keep going. But drill a small hole first, put the pick tool all the way through the firewall, and see where it comes out the other side. Make sure there's nothing around it. Make sure none of the wires cross in front of it. Make sure you didn't come out underneath something. Once you're, okay, cool, keep drilling. Okay.
Alright, so this thing gets crazy. It doesn't let me go back anymore.
Okay.
So anyway, have you guys ever installed a Rockford T750.1 or anything at least, the small amplifiers?
We install all the small amplifiers. Where are they at?
It's right there.
They're right up there. Actually, we just rearranged this whole area back here. We're trying a new view today, just so you guys don't have to look at the subwoofers like we normally have. So we've done this. So we just moved all of this around. We moved the audio control amplifiers here into the center spot. We brought in the Morel amplifiers. We have those over there, so we're real excited about those. We took all the micro amplifiers and threw them over there in the corner. So really neat. What's the most important? Okay, go ahead. What do you got?
All right, so Lance, with the OEM microphone in 2018 Toyota Tundra work with the Kenwood DDX 9904S, or do I need to run the microphone that came with the head unit?
Yes, on all the installations, you really need to run the microphone that came with the head unit, because they're different. There's no adapter. That's one of the sticking points that has drove everyone crazy since we've had to put in aftermarket radios. You have to use the aftermarket microphone. Now, that's not to say you can't locate your microphone in the same spot that the factory's in. If you can get to it and remove it, you can also put your microphone in that same spot and achieve the same factory look. That's what we do in the cases where someone's like, I can't. It's like, all right, fine. We'll see if we can relocate it into that factory location and if we can get it to work. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, only because of the shape, but it's still, that's what you got to do. Ooh, morale. Yeah, I know. Okay.
Okay, so let's see.
Hey, from AVDC. What's up, man?
What do you think about the Helix DSP versus the LCQ1?
Well, the LCQ1 is all analog. The Helix is digital, so really depends what you're trying to do. I would think those are two totally different applications as far as how everything has a purpose in this industry, whether it makes sense or not. There's really no like wrong piece per se. It's just what fits best for your installation. Like an LCQ1 has no delay. It's just basically an EQ, high level to low level adapter. It's great, it's simple, it's really easy to wrap your head around it. When you get into some of these other things that have big processors like these, the 608, 810, the Helix, the Bit1, the DSR1, and 6 other, the Phoenix Gold 808, there's a lot going on there that you have wow, so sometimes something simple is good.
All right, so curious, what do you guys use if your DirectX wiring guide doesn't match up?
Well, honestly, we use that as a last resort when it comes to DirectX. I mean, if we're doing an alarm, which yes, we do alarms, we do about 10 a year, so that's why there's no videos on them. But we don't use it very rarely do we use it audio related. If we're doing an alarm, DirectX, way to go. But there again, it's a guide. It's not written in stone. So just because it says it's here, that doesn't mean it's not over here. When it comes to audio, when we shoot the videos, like when we shot the cruise and we showed you how we went through that, we didn't have secretly DirectX open on the side and we were just like going through the motions. We go through the motions because for me, I've been doing this long before I had DirectX. So And I hate the thought of black boxes being the answer for everything. I want to know how stuff works, and I want to know how you got there. So that's why we have the tools we have, so that we can do it as it would be old school style, I guess, where we actually go through the heartache of doing the work to figure out what wires are what and where it goes. At the end, sometimes, yeah, you have to go to the internet, you have to hit a forum when it comes to a lot
What's
of
up,
times
Dan?
with noise canceling microphones, or you hit the forums. I mean, you just start scrubbing the internet because, hey, some of that stuff is nearly impossible to figure out unless you have the wiring schematic for the car. So in that's the case, you just hope to God that someone else found it and they were nice enough to put it on the internet, and then you just search for it. But we use that as a last resort. We try to figure everything out in-house first. So like backup cameras, USBs, auxiliaries, all that stuff. We try to figure it out first. Sure, we could probably save time by spending 10 or 15 minutes doing an internet search and then, trying whatever they did. But what if I don't find it? I've wasted all that time. I could have just maybe figured it out myself. Okay.
All right, so let's see. What is the most important data?
What is the most important objective data to rely on to pick SQ speakers? Tweeter, mid-range, mid-bass, and sub. I think it's important to know this. Otherwise, you are trusting the marketing organization reviews. Neither are available. Thank you. Oh, that's a good question. And I really don't have a good answer for you because, you have speaker sensitivity, you have frequency response, you have power handling, and for the most part, it's all BS. I mean, it's a good kind of idea, but yeah, it's okay. So it's a tough one. So sometimes this is why the no salesman approach to things sucks, because not being able, and this is what irritates me, as we know, I've been talking about headphones a lot. Not being able to walk into a store and pick up a pair of headphones and put them on my head and go, ooh, I like the way these sounds, I want to buy them. No, I have to now go to Amazon, rely on what some guy on YouTube said was cool, put them on and buy them and go, it wasn't for me. So buying speakers is relatively the same thing. You have to go and read reviews and listen to what people have said, and some people are going to like them and some people aren't going to like them. And sensitivity is one thing you can look at. If you want something that's really loud and lacks power handling, the sensitivity is always going to be up. And there again, some speakers have high sensitivity and have high power handling. And then some people will just be they only look at power handling and say, oh, this speaker only handles 45 watts. It's crap, which is in the case of the new XR Kenwood Exelons. They have really low power handling, and everyone's no one wants to buy them because the power handling is low. And it's well, the reason the power handling is low because they have no passive crossovers. The speakers are designed to work without them, so they don't need a boatload of power to get really loud. Well, then I can't put my 150 watt by 2 amp. Well, okay, so there's all these things. The reason why I said it sucks that the salesman is gone and we're relying on the internet now is that, when people come in here and they talk to us and I go, hey, what kind of music do you listen to? And they say, I listen to this type of music. Well, we've done enough cars over the years that we could say, okay, this is what sounds really good. That's why when we're tuning a car, we play all different kinds of music, other than it's not only just for our own personal enjoyment after working hard to get a car done, it's so that we can have a reference point at which to gauge future builds on. So if a guy comes in and says, hey, I listen to hard rock, I listen to extreme techno, and I want this thing to just be yeah, we'll say, all right, well, you're a great candidate for a Rockford or a Hertz High Energy or Millie or something like that. And then you're oh, I had a guy come in just past week, and he's I have the Hertz, they're just fatiguing after about a half hour, the tweeter's a little bit too much, and I was okay, cool, that has a metal tweeter, we want to switch to something that has a cloth tweeter, because a cloth tweeter is typically a little bit smoother, a little bit less fatiguing. So we're going to get him into a nice set of Morels. And then between that would have been going with some Focals, because they have a really bright cloth tweeter, but he didn't want that. So the Morel is a little bit more tame. R-Type, X-Type are very similar to stuff like that. So a lot of the times it can come down to the material, what kind of materials are made out of. Metal tweeters are typically real precise, real accurate, but also they can be fatiguing and they can be loud. Some people like that. Cloth tweeters can sometimes be smooth, less fatiguing, but not as accurate. So it's hard to find one thing. You almost have to go listen to them, find someone that has them, which is hard to do. It's really hard to do anymore. Yeah, I don't have a great answer for that, even though I managed to talk on it for 5 minutes.
All right. My PT Cruiser has 212 subs.
No, all right, no, Chris answered that. The most objective data would be Dean's helped. Dean's. He's helped me more than anyone. Okay, thank you, Chris. All right, sorry, go ahead.
All right. So my PT Cruiser has 212.
Yep.
12-inch subs and a 3700 watts amp.
That's
However,
huge. Yeah.
when the bass hits, it fades out.
Yeah. Well, because
Okay.
you have a giant amp in a PT Cruiser, which is not going to have a huge electrical system in it, and you probably need a second battery. Or, there's a lot of things that cause amplifiers to do bad things, So one of the videos we never got around to making that we so desperately want to make at some point is the what I like to call the 3 things that cause amplifiers to shut off.
Yeah.
At the top of the list is battery voltage, and these are generic. These are like the extreme causes. The top of the list is battery voltage. If you don't have enough battery voltage, the amplifier is going to want to shut off. Second thing on the list is resistance, meaning what ohm load you have on there. So if the ohm load is lower than what the amplifier can handle, the amplifier is going to shut off. Third thing on that list is heat, meaning circulation, meaning is there enough air getting over that amplifier to where it can cool itself properly in order to stay on. Those are the 3 circuits that are typically built into an amplifier to protect the amplifier. There's a voltage sensing, there's a ohm load protection, and then there's a thermal shutdown. Those are the 3 things most manufacturers will build into their amplifiers because those are the 3 most common things that cause amplifiers to shut down. Now, depending on your situation, it's going to be one of those 3 things that cause your amplifier to shut off. A voltmeter that you can pick up for $19 at the cheap tool store. I almost bought one yesterday, and then I realized I have one. We'll tell you 2 of those. So play it with the voltmeter hooked up to it and see what it's doing.
All right. Hey, guys.
Good evening, Craig.
Okay. Hey, guys.
What's up, Victor?
Your gains depends on a single source or an all source, like a Bluetooth, CD, or radio.
What do we set our gains with?
Mm-hmm.
Depends. We're going to use a CD if we can. Sometimes we'll use the phone, but we know with the phone that the volume is going to be a little bit different. Typically, when we do the DD1 radio dynos, we know that CD is usually the loudest output source that radios have. And then from there, we know that when we play Bluetooth or we do aux, there's usually some form of voltage differential so that we have to turn up the SLA or source level adjust. So we know that when we're setting these radios, sometimes we have to use the phone, that we can go, because on the phone we'll do a 0 dB track. We know that's going to be a little low, so we know if we set the 0 dB track, we can go a little bit higher to get a little bit more out of the amplifier to get that 5% distortion that the DD1 is looking at. So, but, there again, the tools are cool. We love the tools. We have the tools. We use the tools. The tools aren't always, that's not the end-all be-all. At the end of the day, you still have to sit in the car. You still have to put ears on speakers, okay? Because speakers make sound. Ears hear sound. Yep. Ears are still the best thing for testing a speaker to see how it sounds. We can use RTAs. We can use DD1s. We can use oscilloscopes. We can use voltmeters. We have all this stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll use it all. But then we sit in the car and we listen to the car. And we isolate. Even after we're done tuning it, we still isolate. We play the front speakers, play the rear speakers, play the front and rear speakers together. Most of the time when we sit in the car after we're done doing all the electronic measurement and gain setting and all that BS, we sit in the car and we just listen to the front and rear speakers without the sub because those need to sound good, period. And then sometimes when you bring the sub in, it's like all of a sudden you hear, whoa, what the heck is that? There's some weird distortion and stuff like that, and those are crossover points that are wrong. You got to go in and tweak the crossovers just a little bit so you don't have weird sounds coming from the overlapping frequencies. It can get to be real strange, but it's ears on it that do it. Anyone that can hop in a car and just go, boom, done, see ya, bro. I commend you. You're amazing.
All right. Ron, I have a 2013 Impala with the tweeter and the A-pillar.
Yes.
If I decide to put coaxials versus the components, will be a huge sound difference?
So, that's a great question. Today we're getting great questions. I want to thank you guys as always. You guys provide us with great questions, which makes great content, and we like that. Real quick, before I answer that, let me answer this. Do I need to use a dual battery relay or can I run batteries in parallel? simple answer to that is if it's a daily driver, you're constantly using the batteries, and the batteries are both fairly new, meaning you have a new battery and you have a fairly new battery, maybe 6 or 8 months old, and you drive the car every day, you should be fine without the relay. Now, if the car is going to sit for an extended period of time, it's a weekend driver, and you drive it for 15 minutes a day, a relay is a great idea. Because as long as you're constantly moving, constantly charging, the batteries really have no time to beat each other up, the relay's not really necessary. However, if the car is going to sit for an extended period of time, and yes, add the relay. The relay is never bad, but it's not totally necessary if you're constantly moving the vehicle. Now back to the other question. If I have a tweeter in the A-pillar and I have a mid-base in the door and I add a coaxial, what happens? Well, now you have 4 tweeters up front. What we'll do a lot of the times when the customers come in and they're like, dude, I want this thing to be like popping, man. I want so much coming in my face. So what we'll do is we'll say, cool, we'll actually sell you a set of tweeters and a set of coaxials so that we can have 4 tweeters up front, just so that it's like, yeah, hey man, look at me. Okay, we do that a lot of the times. It's great. It's an easy way to make the front stupid loud. So if you're that guy that just wants, you're not worried about. I don't know, he sounds like he's a little to the left some. Can we get like a millisecond off of that over there? Just turn that down too. If you're not that guy, you just want, then yeah, 4 tweeters up front. Go for it, man. If you don't want to replace the factory tweeters now, totally understand. I would eventually replace the factory tweeters with a nicer tweeter that matches the ones in the door. So most speaker manufacturers make a standalone tweeter. Get that tweeter so that it all sounds the same. And as I called it the other day, timbre, it's actually timbre. Somebody corrected me on that. Thank you so much. The timbre will match, and that's just the characteristics because the speakers are the same. Booyah. Okay, what's up?
All right, so let's see. What do you think about the T2500?
Today. No comedian, just...
What do you think about the T2500 Fosgate Power Series?
That's funny. Didn't they ask us that on Saturday?
I think...
Somebody asked us that on Saturday. We covered that.
I don't even
It's
remember.
a great amp. Move on.
For Manny, I think he asked this on Saturday or next Monday. If I'm gonna do roadkill on the doors, and should I do roadkill in the floor for the subwoofer? Is necessary?
So, okay, so sound dead and everything. That's what everyone says. Okay, if there's already sound deadening there from the factory, don't go crazy. It's not totally necessary. If you have a big piece of metal that has no sound deadening on it whatsoever, it's not a bad idea to add some sound deadening. Rear decks, door panels, anytime you take side panels off, it's the big cavernous area. Sound deadening there is nice. Inside of door panels, if you can drop a headliner and you got time, the roof is nice. It does a couple things. But yeah, but no, if there's already like sound deadening, yeah, I mean, you can go crazy. It's your money, do your thing, but it's not totally necessary. Question was, I've been out of this for 5 years. Is it better to go with a 5-channel or go with a 4-channel and a monoblock? Really comes down to personal preference and how much power you plan on adding to your subwoofer. Yep. Most 5-channel amplifiers have between, let's say, 500 to 800 watts of power. Mm-hmm. Most of those are on the smaller side, like between 3 to 500 watts. So it's like you go 3 to 500, and then you go 500 to 800. Those are kind of like how that works out. And then right in the middle, if you're just going to do an application where the 500 watts or the 300 watts is perfect for what you're trying to do for a subwoofer, 5 channels are great. Mm-hmm. They'll save you money because you only have to buy one install kit. It's just take up less space. It's a much nicer situation. If you're going to plan on doing something like 800, 1500, or something like that on a subwoofer, then you're going to want to go with 2. But that's really what it comes down to.
All right. Oscar, the Alpine SP 6090 6x9 coaxials, they're good speakers. They're good. All right, Donna, I have an Automate Remote Star.
Yeah.
In my 2015 Camry. Had a radio put in using the Data Link Maestro.
Were you happy about Mexico beating Germany?
I was excited. Yeah, I love soccer. So
how did you describe that to me this morning? It was
I was like, oh my God, that was an amazing game. They play an amazing game, so I like
okay.
it.
All right.
So
Yes.
I have a remote start in my 2015 Camry.
Yep.
Had a radio put in using a dial-in Maestro.
Yep.
Now the remote start only stays on for about a minute.
Yep.
Any suggestions?
Yep.
Also, he said I had the factory JBL system that has been taken out.
Okay. Yeah, so what you run into every now and then is module cross-contamination. So that's a tough one. So depending on what kind of module they use to do the car start, it may be affecting the iData. iData also makes car start modules. What you may have to do is switch out whatever module they use to do your car start with an iData module so that the two don't beat each other up or cross-contaminate one another. What's happening is that you have two wires on the you have two modules on the data bus, and it's confusing the computer. It happens.
All right, Edwin, do you recommend using the LC2i to add subwoofers to the stock radio? It's a 2017 Toyota 86, not ready to swap out the radio yet, but when I do, I'm gonna follow your video.
Perfect. That's why we make them.
Do you recommend it?
What do I recommend?
To using the LC2i to add subwoofers to the factories.
Yes. Yeah. The LC2. Okay. So.
Yes.
What makes the LC2i like the best subwoofer add-on high-level to low-level adapter is a couple things. For one, it handles the most power of any high-level to low-level adapter out there. It's gigantic. It'll eat anything you can give it. Two, if you have bass roll-off, and what bass roll-off is, in a nutshell, is that as you're turning up the factory volume, the highs go up like this, and the bass reaches a point and it plateaus, while the highs still keep going off. That's called bass roll-off. AccuBass is designed to fix that, so that you dial in where it's rolling off, and then it keeps it going up. So it adds AccuBass. It has two outputs though, so if AccuBass blows your mind and you're like, I don't get, you can actually just unplug it, plug it into the bottom one, and skip AccuBass altogether, because not every car needs AccuBass. Some do, Dodge, others don't. But it's also the cleanest. It's yes, I love the LC2i. We don't do a lot of them, mainly because they're expensive. What we do in lieu of those is the LC7-2 from PAC. There again, if you have the money, definitely go for the LC2i. Or, instead of doing the LC2i, skip all that. For an amplifier, get the LC 1.800, which is that guy right there above Fernando's head.
Right there, yeah.
It's right here above his head. That amplifier has an LC2i built into it and 800 watts and is not crazy priced. So check that guy out.
All right, Adam, this is nice. Bad air. I think it's bad ground.
Bad earth. Bad earth, can you cause voltage issues and
bad ground.
Oh, bad ground. Yeah, earth. No, ground, earth. Yeah, I get it.
I got it. That's fine. That's good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Bad ground can cause voltage issue.
Yes. Oh, well, okay. All right. DC is direct current. Okay, and what that means is it has a starting point and it has an end point. So when you have your battery terminals, okay, it's power in your car leaves the positive terminal or the negative terminal, depending on how you are in the physics world. It's debatable. I don't want to debate it. Leaves one side, goes through the car, goes through all the electronics, comes back to the ground side. Okay? Everything passes through. For example, if you hook up a light bulb to a battery, power, ground, passes through, comes back to ground. That element in the middle is it's just passing through the element, lights up the bulb, and comes back. What a lot of people screw up is they just think power is important because all you run is a power wire. So, oh, hey, I'm just going to run a cool 4 gauge and I'm going to put an 8 gauge ground or a 16 gauge ground, or I'm just going to ground it over here to the seat bolt, or I'm going to just wrap it around the cable tie, the little luggage tie in the back of the car. And it's like, whoa! The reason why you don't run a ground is because the whole car, if most cars, some cars is questionable, which we'll get to a new product here that fixes that. The whole car is metal, and the whole car is a ground. So the idea is that there's enough metal in the car to be enough of a ground so that you don't have to run a ground. Some cars now are being made out of aluminum, though, and that's totally queering the deal. Some cars are made out of fiberglass, and you can't get to a ground. So what Stinger has done, which we've talked about before,
Sa Julio, thank you, Derek. Let's see.
is they've come out with this stuff here. All right. So they have it in 4 gauge and they have it in 8 gauge, and this is a dual run power and ground. It's this color because they did it for marine, but we bought it. It comes in spools now. We've used it in the kits that they make for marine, but we buy it on the. They finally made it in spools for just those things. So like if you have a Ford F-150, if you're just doing a small 500 watt amp, the aluminum is okay. You're good. You don't need it. But as soon as you get into something big, sometimes you run into noise issues, in which case it's easier just to run a power and ground up to the battery, because ground is important. We just used this in the yellow Corvette we did because it's fiberglass, and when we were mounting the amplifier, there was no ground points anywhere nearby. That, and I've had a bad experience with a Corvette that was cut in half, welded back together, and there was this crappy ground between front and rear. So now with Corvettes, it's just, if we can't see the whole frame, we run a power and ground. This is going to save us time. It costs as much as buying 2 power wires, but it's an easy run. It looks sexy. Okay.
All right, let's see. I have a 2005 Denali with Bose system. I want to change the overhead DVDs, so you guys have a preference going with the Pioneer AVIC 8200?
So we carry 2 drop downs, and really there's not too many anymore. Our Patreon page is 5-star car stereo. We put a link in every video that we do on YouTube. There's a link to the Patreon page.
Yep.
So when it comes to drop downs, we really carry 2. We carry Vox Movies to Go, which is a 13-inch, really nice, bulletproof. No, it's sorry, it's a 10-inch. It's a 10-inch. Yeah. I mean, seriously, we put it in, and we
nice.
never have them
really
come back.
Nice.
I mean,
yes.
it's affordable. It's nice.
Yep.
It comes in the 3 colors: the tan, gray, black. You know, put it in and forget it. To me, that's awesome.
And then
we carry the Alpine. Which has the way nicer screen. Yes. However, it doesn't have the best track record. It's totally worth it for the better screen.
More expensive.
It's more expensive, but honestly, I don't know. We just had one family that just could not keep this thing working in their car. I don't know what it was, but I think we replaced it like 3 times. But it's been in there now for like 2 years. So, but I'm a once bitten, twice shy kind of guy. So, Dean, how do you explain why people do the big 3 how do you explain why people do big 3 upgrades? All right, big 3 upgrades are great, I guess. I don't know. So, older cars have crappy grounds. And so now the thought is, okay, if you pop the hood on your car and you see an 8-gauge ground coming off your battery going to the frame of the car somewhere, and now you're running a 4-gauge to it, well, yeah, and put a new ground in it for sure. But you have to be careful on a lot of these newer cars because they're actually using, they put a meter around, you'll see, if you have a battery wire and you see this black thing wrapped around it like this, and I don't mean it to look like it does, okay, that's a ground sensing for the car's electronic system to control the alternator, and if you change that resistance, you can wreak all kinds of havoc on the charging system in the car. So you do have to be real careful. Everyone that's gung-ho about, oh, big 3. Yeah, replace, do it, fine. I mean, anytime we get an older car in and it doesn't have one of those and the ground sucks, we put a bigger ground in it, and we'll do ground from the battery to the frame, ground from the battery to the chassis, ground from the chassis to the block. We'll do that because we know it's important, and it's yes. But we also know that grounding the amplifier, it's the circle of life, man. You gotta have good ground.
All right, so
sorry.
Why some amps say 400 watts are 4 ohms and 500 watts are 2 ohms?
Right.
And also some say, like the Alpine PDX V9 say
constant power.
500 watts, either 2 or 4 ohms.
Yeah, Rockford does that too. That's called constant power. Basically what it has to do is the way the amplifier is designed is it sees the ohm load and it doesn't care. JL also has that. It's a great technology. Rockford calls it constant power. It's awesome. It's the way all amplifiers should be designed. It's a newer technology that has to, I'm sure there's a lot of voodoo involved with it that I'm going to get wrong here, but I understand the concept. But it's just, it's telling the amplifier, it's not caring what ohm load is hooked up to it. It's awesome. and it works, and it doesn't matter what ohm load you have. Older amplifiers or amplifiers that are using, we'll call it antiquated technology, meaning shit that hasn't changed since the 70s. Yeah, oh hey, if you're running it at 4 ohm, you're going to get this. You run it at 2 ohms, you're going to get this. If you look at the back in the day, the Orion 225 HCCA, which was the cheater amps of cheater amps, it was a 2 by 25 watt amp that at half ohm put out 400 watts. Okay? Its big brother, or its other brother, which was the same exact amplifier, just was internally wired a little differently, was the 275 SX. There again, put out 400 watts. Constant power, totally different. It's actually a smarter amplifier, better technology. The mini T-Series amplifiers use it. The Rockford, I believe some of the Power Series, T-Series, bigger amplifiers use it. And the PDX V9 uses it. Like I said, NJL uses it. I love it. I wish all amplifiers were that way because it takes that out of the equation as far as silliness. I had to have the conversation today with somebody that came in and they were like, hey, you guys just put the amp in my car on Friday. I went to Best Buy over the weekend. I bought a new sub. Now my amp cuts off all the time. It's like, well, okay, yeah, what did you buy? Oh, I bought a dual 2 ohm speaker. I have it wired up 1 ohm. Your amp can't run 1 ohm. Your amp can only do 2 ohm mono.
Yeah.
Oh, what does that mean? It means you're going to blow up your amplifier.
Yep.
With a constant power amplifier, it takes that out of the equation. I don't have to have that conversation. I like it. Okay.
All right, so let's see. I would like to put my Hertz Mealy 280.3 tweeters in my sail panels. Should I be concerned that the rain will get on the tweeters since it's not much of the speaker grill?
What kind of car is it?
I have no idea.
The rain is going to get on it?
That's what they say. Concern.
Oh, yeah, water. That has been the one concern I haven't heard yet. I suppose, yeah, there's always that as an issue, because, I mean, the Millie's, it's a metal tweeter, so, I mean, yeah. But here's the thing, whether it's mounted in the A-pillars or mounted in the door, you know, if you mount your tweeters in the door, they're still going to get wet. I think you're going to be okay.
All right, so in
Just
Australia,
don't touch them.
In Australia, they generally call Earth.
Yeah, Earth is ground. Because it's an
That's
AC
awesome.
reference. It's
That's
okay.
nice.
I mean, it's fine. You know, ground is Earth. Ground. I mean, technically it's ground. We're calling it ground, which is ground is on the Earth, unless you're in the sky, in which case you still need to go down. I was brought up that power and ground are both important, and they are, Mike. Thank you.
So actually, let me see. Oscar says, so it's better to have a 4 ohm or 2 ohm subs.
Doesn't matter. So back to that again. So the conversation I had this morning with the guy, trying to bring him up to speed on how that works, and I know we have videos on this, but so one amplifier manufacturer will make an amplifier that is at 1 ohm, 500 watts. Another guy will make that same amplifier at 2 ohms, 500 watts. Another amplifier manufacturer is going to say 4 ohms, 500 watts. The reason why dual voice coil subwoofers exist now, not in the past, which is a whole nother conversation I don't want to have, is so that you can manipulate them to meet those amplifiers criteria, because you don't want to get an amplifier that is 1 ohm, 500 watts, put 2 ohm on it and get no power out of it. So it doesn't, the performance of a dual 2 or a dual 4 is basically the same. It's minutia. I mean, like, you'd have to really expand out the numbers and get railing to the .000 to see a difference in performance. So we'll just say there is no difference, because it's not, I mean, it's so like, putting, you know, you just want to make sure whatever the amp is asking for, you're giving it. And that's that. Now, where that gets funny, or fun as I should say, is when you have like this giant amplifier, big dog, 1,000 watt amplifier, and you buy a subwoofer that's peak power is 1,000 watts, and you put that on there and you blow the shit out of that subwoofer in 2 seconds flat, and you're like, what happened? Well, now you have this 1,000 watt amplifier. Of course, you get the woofer warrantied out. What do? Well, now you really want to turn that amplifier into a 500 watt amplifier. That's where having the ability to decrease the ohm load down becomes real helpful, because you can still keep that big expensive amplifier you bought, and until you can buy a woofer that can eat it, you just wire it up. So let's say if it's a 2 ohm at 1,000 watts, you put it at 4 ohms at 1,000 watts. You get less power out of the amplifier. You save yourself the headache of keep blowing that woofer until you can buy a big dog, Scar or Sundown that can eat that.
Yeah. All right, so Kyle, check, it's like he said, check Scar Audio. They actually make big amplifiers, like 2,000 RMS, so you can find
Rockford
that.
makes giant amps too, but if you want something that's affordable,
Yeah.
Scar's, they make the RP series. They make the RP 2000, which used to be behind here, but we moved it. It's actually physically about as big as this guy right here. This is the Phoenix Gold 6-channel.
Yeah.
It's about that big. It's 2,000 watts. I believe Steve Mead and Big D Wiz did a review on those, and they're nice amps and reasonably priced.
All right, for a stereo system about 2,000 watts, 3 amps.
Oh wow!
Will a 60 amp battery be enough, or will be insufficient with changing out the battery in the engine bay? With the car stereo battery all separate and both together with the amps. Load the show.
So you have to be real careful when you buy one of the dry cells for underneath the hood. I typically don't like to do that. I typically like to just go out and buy the biggest battery I can fit underneath the hood and let it be its battery. Let it start the car. Let it do its thing. And then for the battery in the back, I'm going to use a dry cell. I'm going to use a Stinger red top or a yellow top or any one of the other brand batteries that are out there that are really nice. And for that, there again, I'm going to buy the one I have the most room for. They make several different sizes. Now, in Stinger's world, they have their yellow top and they have the red top. The red tops are more powerful per inch than the yellow tops. Now, what that means is that, for example, you could buy what they call the SPV 44, which is about that big and about the same in height. If you buy the smaller... I think it's like an SP65 or SP60, something like that. It's thinner, half the thickness and the same height, but bigger battery. Because it's just made better liquid went into, or dry crap went into it to make it better. So, but it's also more money.
Yep.
So sometimes you can get away with a smaller battery if you buy a better brand battery. You just want to check the amperage. As far as if a 65 amp battery is enough for what you're trying to do, it depends what those 3 amplifiers are. If you have 300 amps of current draw on a 65 amp battery,
sorry, Jason.
it's going to not really give you a lot of play time. So anytime you're trying to figure out what battery you have to go with, you have to figure out how much time do you plan on playing it for. When do you plan on playing it? Are you going to be sitting in a parking lot? Are you going to be basing out? What are you doing? Are you constantly just driving? You just need something to maintain while you're moving? Are you going to be after work going crazy? If you're doing that, more batteries. More power.
More batteries.
The nice thing is that a lot of the amplifiers now are really, really efficient. Yep. Which means that they don't need tons and tons of batteries. They work better. Like when you look at the Punch or Power T-Series amplifiers, those things are small. They put out tons of power. They're extremely efficient. They do really well with the power that they're given. You don't have to go crazy or anything like that. A normal system like that with 3 of those, yeah, you'd be fine with that battery.
So what's better? An inverter or...
What's an inverter or an outverter?
An outverter.
I don't really get that. A power inverter or an out... I don't know what an outverter is. I know what an inverter is.
All right, I was going to say,
yeah, okay.
I have a 2011 Toyota 4Runner factory, non-JBL. Had a party mode button.
Yeah.
This is screw up the sound. How do I bypass it and fix it?
On what kind of radio? Factory non-JBL, party mode button. Oh, wow. Well, anytime we don't know how to do something, the first thing we do is break out the owner's manual and read it. Unfortunately, I'm not real familiar with that radio, so that's what I'd be doing. I'd be sitting in your car, in your glove box, going through the owner's manual, trying to figure out what the heck's happening. I'm sure it's some form of an EQ or something like that.
It's not like the Mist Track from Pioneer?
I don't know, man. I have no idea. Did the new Amp Pro for the 2015 and up GM trucks come out yet? Unfortunately, not yet. we're really close. That one is really, really close. And don't worry, you guys will be some of the first people to know about it. So just hang tight on that one. Hey, which brings me to another good point. Next month is July, so July is going to be really fun.
Ooh, yeah.
We're going to be on vacation the week of July, but don't worry, there'll still be videos. There won't be a live show, but there'll be videos that are going to get you guys through that week of non-liveness. Now, there might be a live show. I'll be in California, so Haley and I might pop in from time to time just to say hi, make sure you guys are, alive and doing well.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen. But also in July, we're going to have a special guest on the show. At the end of July, it's going to be a special Wednesday show.
Yes.
Right now, we're scheduled to have Chris Bennett from Audio Control come to the show. I think it's on the 25th? We'll confirm up the date.
It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday, so it's going to be a special Wednesday show. So we'll still have a Monday show, we'll still have a Saturday show, but we're going to have a bonus Wednesday show. So that'll be awesome. We'll have him here, and then of course, right now we're trying that GM thing. We're working on that. So more information comes about that. We'll get into it. Over from the Civic Forum plug to normal house socket, power, outverter, appliance. Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah. No, it's for, all right. What's your opinion on the Toyota Scion Pioneer head unit? If it's the one with the RC outputs, it's pretty cool. If it's the one that doesn't have the RC outputs, not really that impressed.
Yep.
Thanks for the heads up on next month. Next month is going to be fun. We're really looking forward to next month.
Don't want to miss it.
We're going to have videos for through the show. A lot of it's going to be shorts. We're also going to do a lot of the question answer video that we baited back last month. We're going to be doing a lot of those. So I know you guys are like, oh, tell us which ones we're going to do it on. No, I'm not going to tell you which ones we're doing it on because then you're just going to load it. No. So we want the video, so we're going to be doing some of those. You can probably guess which one's going to be with one of the first ones for sure.
All right, JC.
3-part series, but otherwise, okay, a couple more because we got to get out of here.
All right. Hey, I have a question. I have a Dodge Mega with Infinity system. I went with a Kenwood double din and a Kenwood 12-inch sub.
Okay.
My door speakers don't sound right.
Right.
Do you recommend to change the door speakers and put bass blockers on them?
He has an Infinity system?
Yes.
Yes. What you're going to want to do is definitely get rid of those factory Infinity speakers because they're not that great. Yeah. 2, they're trying to play subwoofer still because you probably still have the Infinity amplifier in there, so you didn't change that portion of it. So I would probably recommend getting a small 4-channel amplifier and just replacing those speakers with some real speakers. You don't need to worry about bass blockers per se unless you're just talking about the speakers up in the dash, in which case, 47 microfarads on the 3.5s that go up in the dash would be great if it has those. But the radio is going to have active crossovers for those speakers. You'll be good there. What I just got here. I know, Jason. I'm sorry.
All right, Travis.
What's Travis? I looked around on DNF Tool Drawer and didn't see any, but where do you guys buy your wire? The different colors from Speakerboards. All our wire comes from our distributor, Amp Global. We don't put it on there because we don't buy that on Amazon. We use all Stinger wire, so all the wire comes from Stinger. So we don't really get anything.
Luis say you can go to Amazon and find something.
Yeah, or you could go to your local dealer that may have Stinger wire there for you to buy. Yeah. Anytime you're buying wire, and then there's a bunch of internet places where you can get wire. Right. The one thing you have to keep in mind, anytime you're buying wire, 100% copper, oxygen free. That's all you're looking for. 100% copper, oxygen free. That's it. Don't get anything that's not that. Aluminum, CCA, no. 100% copper, oxygen free. Boom. Get going. All right, with Jason. Just kidding. Gotcha, bro. DNF Tool Drawer is where you can find the tools we use. Patreon. There's a link in all the videos to do it. We put your name at the end of this video that we put up Tuesday night, the replay on YouTube. Teespring is where you can find the shirts. Teespring/store/5star. You can get cool base shirt, Nando, for president. Making America bass again. It's a great shirt.
Chris, no problem on the door chimes. No problem.
Cool. Oh yeah. There was no, that all worked. And actually, in the video we showed there was one little spot where we showed the coming out of the test speaker. All the chimes worked. Everything worked. It was great. Cruise was awesome. All right, guys,
Don't
this one
miss
went
out
by
the
super
next month.
fast. Next month is going to be fun. Let's
miss
get
it out.
through this month first, though. So you guys have a great night as always. We'll see you again Saturday on YouTube. Enjoy the week. Be safe.
later.
Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.